What is happening? It's the Xbox Now podcast, and we got a whole crew. I'm going to do introductions real quick. Johnny Bo, what's going on?
What's up? How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for having me on here.
Of course. Radical, how the heck are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Doing so good. Crawler, what's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going? Crawler coming at you.
Andy, what's happening?
Yes. Hey, Josh.
Lady, how are you?
I'm well. Hello.
3-bit, what is going on?
Hello.
I'm getting messages saying not live on YouTube yet.
Yeah.
I'm refreshing. Let's see what's going on here.
All right. Yeah. It wasn't even doing the countdown for me, so I was a little should be at least there.
Let me see.
It's not.
Let me see what's up. Okay. Well.
Oh, there's a comment from
YouTube.
YouTube.
But Mav popped up from the chat, so that's a good.
Xbox. The Xbox Now channel is good. I'm seeing it.
Okay. It's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for me. But who am I?
It's not for me either. Like, at least somebody's seeing it, you know? Hey.
No, it's live for Kate, so that's all that matters.
I see it. Here we go.
It might have went to the different.
There we go. I see it now. I had to go onto the page and then click on the video again, and now it's good.
Hey, we're doing it live. You know what? That's and we're also doing it with new toys. So welcome to Restream. You know, we'll figure it out. So, guys, today's like Christmas for gamers, especially if you're an Xbox fan. And we got to watch the Xbox presentation. It was rocking and rolling. Just game after game after game. And some of us are super hyped. Some of us not quite as hyped. So, Johnny, I'm going to start with you because I saw your tweet and you were like, Nintendo.
Why me? Why you call me out like that? I'm only wearing a Nintendo hat. You know, I got my name's Nintendo. I hate Xbox now. I thought it was okay. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that we saw in the past. I was excited for the Halo Infinite multiplayer trailer. That looked awesome. And then Forza Horizon 5. But I wasn't surprised by anything. And that's what I wanted to see.
You wanted to be surprised.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
I think the whole point of this whole thing was, hey, check out Game Pass and you should buy it. And here's why.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no reason not to have Game Pass after this.
Yeah, it was 27 out of 30 of these titles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the only
there were
ones
surprises for me though. I mean, and as a huge Xbox gamer, I mean, I was surprised for a few of those announcements. So I don't think everything was repetitive, but yeah.
What was the biggest surprise for you, lady?
The Avalanche game, like I knew that they were working on something. That Contraband, that was something nobody knew about. The Red, I can't remember what it's called.
Redfall, I think.
Redfall, the vampire.
That one looks absolutely fantastic. I think that one was kind of my big surprise. I am super excited for that one. I love vampires. I love that type of game where you could pick your character and you can tell that you're going to have different skill sets for each one, kind of like Borderlands. You kind of had your mechie girl and your sniper, your stealth guy and stuff like that. So I'm excited. For that one. And then the mini fridge, who didn't? I'm really get excited over that. Come on, guys. I drink my hard seltzers. I need an Xbox mini fridge right next to me.
Hopefully that's affordable.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm if it's an affordable price, I'm not going to spend over $150 on the thing. That's my top. So,
yeah.
Yeah. I saw a lot of things that surprised me. The replaced gameplay.
That looks stunning. Yeah.
Kind of like the last night. I was just stunning, and obviously there are some games in there like Halo. I'm a huge Halo person, so that was great. Atomic Heart. That game kind of came out of nowhere. It's like a BioShock mixed with it's just some craziness. I don't know. That really
that one was crazy
me.
Looking.
That was the one with the anime music that was in Russian.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple surprises, and all those pretty much on Game Pass is just ridiculous. Hades, was another one.
Yes.
Where I was like, finally, that's coming to Xbox. I was just about to buy that on the Switch. Now I could, okay, I'll wait. I'll wait a little bit. Yeah, I was, the pacing of that show was incredible to me. I was just very much overwhelmed with the amount of games. It's just like back to back where I couldn't even take like a piss break. So
that's what a showcase should be. That's what an E3 showcase should be to me.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of comments on Twitter like, oh, we didn't see a deep dive on Halo this, or we didn't see this and this. And I'm like, I don't want to see that at a showcase personally. Like, I want to be wowed by the games and then follow that up later on with the post shows and the deep dives and stuff. So
and that's coming tomorrow. There's a Halo Infinite multiplayer showcase tomorrow. So for the people who's like, oh, there's no Halo, and that's tomorrow,
And that extended showcase on Thursday.
Yep.
I almost like this whole format a little bit better than the stage show, where you have the awkward, just random people coming out on stage, taking a controller and doing gameplay. 90% of that stuff is scripted anyway. So like you talked about the pacing, like this was just, here's a game. It didn't cut back to the stage. Very often they had like maybe 3 or 4 cuts back to a studio where they introduced stuff, but it was just an hour and a half of 30 games, and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, you started to jump in there. What'd you think, boss?
Oh, I mean, I think that 3-Bit brought up pacing, and I thought that's incredible. Over the last 4 or 5 years, each show has kind of had something to prove, and it hits certain beats, but just keeping people's attention across all the genres of games that are available. I thought it was incredible. And I know we're probably going to dive into this, and it's all people can talk about, but having the presentation start with Todd Howard on stage, and just not pulling any punches, the Bethesda plus Xbox, kind of putting anything to rest about what multi-platform versus exclusive means, while also emphasizing the fact that, they're expanding what it means to be in the Xbox ecosystem is something that's incredibly exciting. And then, Starfield in-engine rendering blew my mind. My Wile E. Coyote eyeballs shooting out because it's just like next gen, just to see what they're doing in engine. I can't wait to see gameplay, and the tone of that was amazing. This grounded, gritty kind of as if space travel is new and still kind of dangerous. It just really cemented it. And then their final kind of poster tease at the end has a real kind of Star Wars vibe. And I want to feel some of that Mass Effect feeling that I got back when those games first launched. So I couldn't have been more thrilled. And I thought it was a real gutsy way to open, and they kept the pace up, which was cool.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was looking forward to was Starfield. I think most people were looking forward to Starfield, but you guys don't know me that well. Lady does, but I'm a big Mass Effect lady. I just finished my Legendary playthrough. I have played it before, but I'm slightly obsessed. But one of the questions that I had, just for the universe and for myself, was, I'm a big Mass Effect fan. It is the king of the space drama, but with the new title that they announced, well, they didn't announce the title, but with a new game coming out at some point, is Bethesda poised with Outer Worlds as well and with Starfield to take over the space drama genre? I hope not, quite frankly, because I love Mass Effect and it's so good. But I think that they're finally giving BioWare hey, guess what? You're not the only ones who can do this. And I'm really
do it well.
Do it well. Yeah, that's well. Yeah, but you're not the only ones who can do this well. And Starfield, I was excited. That actually was not my favorite of the day. I was very excited for Plague Tale Requiem. I really like Plague Tale Innocence. I am a big story-driven game fan, so that story just wrecked me. The main character Amicia and her brother Hugo are the same age apart as my brother and I, so I was playing that game sobbing when it came out. But yeah, Starfield. I'm looking forward to seeing what Bethesda can do in that genre. So
I got a quick question just while we're on the Starfield Bethesda launching a new IP. Do you think that with the backing of Xbox, we will lose the somewhat charmed launch jank that comes with every release of a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls?
Are we talking
are they
about
gonna
like?
be...
Did you just call it charming?
Yeah, well,
would that be a bad
It's
thing
not.
if it
It's
went
not
away?
game breaking usually. It is kind of charming where you hit something and you go flying across the
It's
world
not
a little bit.
Cyberpunk.
It's like-
I
Yeah.
just feel
Was Cyberpunk
like it's
charming?
been there for so long.
No.
You know,
I think those
they got
games
away
are
with
too.
it.
They're too massive to not have some of that baked in. So I think it's still going to be there.
But I do
think
think-
Xbox is going to have a like controlling interest in how the games are developed. I think they're just, we want these games on our platforms. You do what you got to do, make them playable at least, and then
They paid $7 billion to have that exclusive to Xbox tag on there. That's the main thing that they paid for.
Yeah,
which I was surprised. Was anybody else surprised that the Bethesda games are going to be exclusive on Xbox and PC? Like Starfield and I think Redfall.
I don't think that was a surprise
I
for
don't think
anybody
so.
personally.
No.
Like, I mean, we all expected it. I mean, I think it would have been more of a shocker if they weren't.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Totally.
I think it was nice to see, and I'm kind of inferring this. I don't know how to tell if it's like including PC Game Pass, but I think it's nice to see that they're listing like these things will all be available on here, and if you have Xbox Game Pass, you can play it. Because I'm a PC gamer, but I've come from Xbox. I have PC Game Pass, and like I want to play Starfield on my PC, and so great. I hope you're on Game Pass because that's what I got from this performance, or it wasn't a performance, this presentation. I think that was said at the beginning, like, yeah, this was about the games, but it was about the importance of having Game Pass and the future of gaming. So,
Yeah,
for sure. Like a lot of those games are like, there's like only 3 or something not in Game Pass. So
Diablo,
Battlefield,
Far Cry, and Battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
and
they
the
were
rest is going straight into Game Pass. So you're saving so much money.
Like hundreds and hundreds of dollars
And-
over the
and-
next couple of years.
they're still profiting. It's amazing. If they truly have just like turned the gaming like business build on its head.
Yeah.
And they're killing it.
It's just fantastic. I can't stress it enough. I can't say it enough that it's just such a fantastic time to be a gamer. Like, and today resonated that so much. Like, I mean, and I think everybody came into this conference with like almost like walking on eggshells. Like, I don't want to be overhyped. Like, I'm hyped, but I don't want to be overhyped for this. And I was absolutely blown away. So, I am just over the moon with the things that we saw and the things that are coming in the future. And I can't wait to see all the rest of the goodness that we're going to see over the next few days. So,
and remember, with all that money we can save with Game Pass, we can go out and buy a PlayStation 5.
to be upset about paying $70 for Returnal and Ratchet and Clank and other
Ratchet and Clank, which you're going to finish in a day.
I think I'm like halfway through it already.
It's an amazing game.
I think it's an amazing game.
It does look like an amazing game.
But yeah, no, Stalker. We were just on that Stalker gameplay, and like I just want to say that was absolutely beautiful too. Just that gritty kind of just almost suspenseful type of way they did that. It was great. It was a great trailer.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that game. Having I play Escape from Tarkov on PC, so like that kind of fits into that genre, and so I'm definitely intrigued to try that out.
Oh, I don't want to see me in full screen. That's not the right button.
Look at that babe.
She's so cute.
My mouse moved to the wrong button. There we go. The thing that I thought was interesting was Stalker, and I think Stalker was the example of going forward of really what they should do with games. Give us some almost like CG or like cutscene stuff, but mix that gameplay in. Right? It was really the gameplay of Stalker that sold me on it. Yeah. Where like, Starfield, everybody's excited for that game because of Uncle Todd and his history, right? His and everything that he's done. But then you look at like Contraband, and it's like, okay, you guys get one of those where you don't show. There's literally nothing. You're just like, cool. There's like, it's like we're moving through a still, and there's a dirty Jeep. That was like, that was kind of it. And so, but yeah, without seeing that gameplay of Stalker, I don't know that I would have been all that interested in it. And even the initial gameplay where they just showed the like where he just shot a couple of guys, and then it was like, even that gunplay initially, I was like, oh, this kind of looks like when you're shooting bots in Rainbow Six, and it's like there's no life to those things whatsoever. But then the monsters started coming out, and then you see that rail gun and the lightning and the weather effects all in game, and I was like, how could I not want to check this one out? And so
Plus, you don't have to pay anything extra. It's on Game Pass.
Right.
exactly.
Why not check it out?
You just got to find space on your 870 gigs.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
John and I were talking
everything
about that before the
installs
show.
super fast.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, that is true.
And Forza was another title
Oh,
where
Forza was. Yeah.
for
I don't even
people
like
who are not
Forza
even
that much.
racing, it just looked incredible.
I
Like when
don't-
they showed
yeah.
that picture, I was
Horizon
like,
games
oh,
are
are they
amazing.
going to show like a side by side comparison and then just jump into the gameplay? I'm like, oh, okay. It's just incredible. Like some of the graphics they showed for some of these games are just mind blowing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was sharing an anecdote. So you guys also don't know this because you don't know me, but my dad is an Emmy Award winning video producer, and he, so he's around technology like this all the time. And, I can remember 15, 20 years ago on, normal, regular Xbox or even like the 360. And he would, wow, look at that. That looks real. This is great. And I was like, I can just see my dad like watching this right now and being like, so what
Shitting
movie is
himself.
this? Like, what are you what are you watching? And I was sitting here as somebody who games frequently, daily, like, oh my, is that real? I can't tell. I literally feel like a boomer. Like I couldn't figure out what was going on. So it's truly amazing just where we are, right, with gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, what I think is crazy too, is a PSA for anyone out there in listener land who hasn't gone back and watched the uncompressed 4K stream of this. Do yourself a favor. It makes a difference. It was all really quite amazing watching it in real time. But then if you go watch the 4K stream, the lighting effects in Stalker, and I know we've got so many games to cover. I just couldn't believe, I've never been a racing fan, and jumping all the way to Forza, I just like, it was, I had a conniption. I fell over, got silent, little catatonic, was like, okay, well, I guess we've arrived. This is incredible. And so it's just such a cool thing to see Xbox have so many different varied entries and be able to show it. And so if you haven't seen the 4K, go get it. Go get it,
Well, and the cool thing about all that too is they talked about filming the skyboxes or whatever in 12K for like 24-hour time lapses. That technology is shared across all of Xbox game studios now. Like they've, especially Playground, has shared a lot of their technology and just the tech that they have across, because I think didn't Sea of Thieves or somebody got their water tech. Like
Sea of Thieves was sharing it with some other studio. I can't remember.
So like they share stuff across, and it's incredible just that they have almost photorealistic graphics that they have, and it's just there for all what 30 something studios now to take advantage of.
Well, and Andy is
tech will be using and Fable, right? They're going to be using the Forza
because
tech
Playground's
for
making it.
Yep.
Andy's absolutely right too, because the footage that you guys are seeing live is from the 4K YouTube. That's what I have. That's what I'm seeing right now, and basically watching it for the third time, but this time in 4K. I can tell you, it's that much more impressive. Like it's, because we watched it initially, and it was coming through 1080. And it was live streamed, so you get the pixelation, stuff like that. These games look unreal. They look unreal. So he's absolutely right. If you get a chance, go Oh,
Oh.
gosh.
Oh
I was
wow.
crying during Flight Sim. I was like, this is beautiful. I can't even take it. I'm
Who
upset.
needs
how
to
beautiful this is.
travel? I have like the world on my Xbox now. I don't even have to leave my bubble anymore.
I know a lot of people.
I'm
wanna
scared for what
try
that
out
download's
Flight
going to
Sim.
be.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man.
Ooh, I should
The pre-install
You
is
can't
tough.
have any other games on your Xbox.
The
You
pre-install
actually
is
have to
tough.
buy
next
two
Call of
Xboxes
Duty.
to get
It's the
one.
next Call of Duty.
It was like 212 megs or something like that, but that's just like the loading screen because that's what I did for PC, and then it wants to install like 190 something gigs. So I ended up deleting it off my PC just because I didn't want to take up the space. But I've heard that they've compressed it and it's like half the size now, and I think that's anticipation for the console release. So hopefully it is compressed a little bit and they find a smart way to deliver what you're downloading on the maps, and it's has a way to just download and write it fast to your Xbox if you're flying to a certain place, hopefully, so it doesn't just eat up all that valuable space on your hard drive.
Yeah, I mean, the graphics, like, I think we can all agree are second to the fact that we're also getting Top Gun DLC. Anyone? Like,
Yeah.
As soon
that's
as
what
the
we were
music
all
started,
looking for.
as soon as that music started, I was like, oh well, there it is.
Yep.
It's happening.
Time to go
Yeah.
get some dog tags and play some volleyball, you know? It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I was in a live stream and a lot of people was freaking out at Top Gun. Like, what?
My first
Could be
question is
maybe.
there going to be any kind of combat? Because that's like,
Right?
Probably not.
yeah, there's
Just
probably
fly
no
around.
way. But I mean, honestly, even flying at that, like, you know, getting to fly at those speeds, I'm assuming it's going to be super fast. It could be totally different than, like, they kind of just showed us like cruising and like, you know, just kind of scoping. And this is like, let me go supersonic, you know what I mean? And just see like what's this thing capable of, you know?
It is a
The,
shared world. It is a shared world, so maybe there'll be some war game type stuff that you can do in there. I don't know.
That would be wild.
Look, just make Crimson, like, give us a Crimson Sky DLC with Flight Sim, and I'll be.
Oh, Crimson Skies! Wow. Yes,
I will forever. I will
right?
forever.
I still
be
have that
Tolkien.
disc. I still have my.
Yep.
I still have that disc. So.
I have two. I had to buy a second Xbox so that my wife and I didn't have to share a split screen. So
Is it just sitting next to your Fusion Frenzy disc? Is that the case? Because that's what it's doing in my closet.
I
Yep.
kind of wanted to see Fusion Frenzy like 2 today. Like I was kind of hoping.
Yeah.
we got
Really
party
nice.
animals though.
We did get party animals. I was just like, is this Gang Beast with costumes? What's happening?
Yeah, I thought it was Game Beast.
Yeah, it was. It looked like a kind of like a mix of like Fall Guys and Goat Simulator. You know,
Yeah, it's just a crazy ragdoll
Yeah.
physics party game. It's an elimination kind of game. It's fun. It's on Steam, but it's kind of just a wacky party game. It's fun. It's fun that they're adding that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it's taking all the way till, I'm assuming it's going to be early 2022, but I'm kind of surprised it's taking that long to get it on Xbox.
So what did you guys
So
think
much
about
co-op
for
goodness
the
in general.
Sea of
We
Thieves
talked today.
announcement with like Johnny Depp
I thought that was great.
and the Pirates of the Caribbean?
It was so funny because she started talking and I was like, this is Calypso. They got Calypso to do like a voiceover. That's so cool. And then like Johnny, like they showed the like jail cell. I was like, wait, hold on. They actually are doing like full fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. Super
Yeah,
rad.
they got like eight at least actors, likenesses, and voices in there. It seems like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it
said
seems-
that if they have Pirate King Elizabeth Swann, I'll play Sea of Thieves. That's an easy
right? Yes, Natalie.
commitment.
Man,
the
if you
game
could
has a
just put
point
me-
now.
Yeah, that's
Right?
the biggest.
Yeah, it's story mode.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's actual story. That's true.
Just get me on the boat.
Whatever happened to Everwild
with the
though?
theme
What's
song.
is Rare focusing on Sea of Thieves instead of Everwild?
I'm not surprised we didn't see anything from Everwild today. I wasn't expecting anything personally, but I don't know
Mhm.
why, but I wasn't expecting anything. So
There's an
Yeah.
extended showcase on Thursday, and they're supposed to talk with Rare there. So hopefully we at
Maybe
least
they'll
get
say
some
something.
kind of update on what's going on with them, because I don't really know what else Rare would be bringing besides, talking more about Sea of Thieves. Like I'd hope they'd at least mention, that
They're out in the country. They take their time. You know.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe the the stuff Rare's going to be talking about is the Banjo-Kazooie game that's going to be on the Switch and the Xbox that gets
Hopefully,
announced on
hopefully.
on
Can you
Tuesday.
imagine? Could you imagine? I'm still hoping for Conkers. Like, I mean, Banjo would be sweet, but I would prefer Conkers. But
I'm so shocked.
I know. Who knew?
It seems like Rare doesn't want to work on any of their old IP though. They seem to want to license it. Like, for example, Perfect Dark is a Rare IP, right?
Right. Killer Instinct.
Oh yeah, we
Killer
didn't see
Instinct.
Perfect Dark.
I mean,
That's
nobody
another
at
one I
Rare,
thought.
nobody
Yeah.
at Rare was there when.
I mean,
they don't have attachment to that anymore.
Actually, the main creative director worked on Donkey Kong Country. Like, the guy that's working on Sea of Thieves worked on Donkey Kong Country. He handed me his card at E3 and it was all chopped up with scissors. And he's like, this is as pirate as I could make this thing.
there was several games that was not here at the showcase, and I'm thinking like maybe time's sake or because they showed some games before, right? We had Scorn last time in the previous showcase. We had games like Crossfire X, which is supposed to launch this year, apparently. So there's several games that Exomecha, just different games that was supposed to be coming this year that wasn't in this showcase. So that's why I think it's really good to have an extended show, show, so that you can give some limelight to maybe those smaller titles that probably wouldn't have fit within this show, maybe because of pacing or whatever, but you can give sort of a better limelight to those other games that people are wondering about.
Yeah, I think we said it earlier too. You know, the highlight of the value of Game Pass and just the idea of games coming month by month. They really needed to come out and prove that they had a plan coming through mid to the end of next year. And so I think some of those titles, there was a quick card that they popped up there, and Scorn was listed up there, but it just had a month and a year. And so I think this was an opportunity to say, like, everything that we talk about here is either in 2022 or we know is going to be rolling in, even leveraging like Hades being a great example of a third party IP coming into Game Pass and being like,
people have been wanting to see,
and they want to see it, and we're covering even genres too. So I think some of the things like Everwild, I'm sure development is still just super intense, and there are plenty of like third person action games being shown. And so, I would have loved, you mentioned Crossfire. I love Remedy. They're one of my favorite studios. I can't wait to see what they do. And so I think that was kind of the low light for me, is I just had my fingers crossed, but it was a lot of fun regardless.
Well, I think that with what you were just saying, the other thing to take into account is last year they didn't have Bethesda to also fit into their show. So like this year, I think was really meant to showcase like, oh, hey, Bethesda is us now. So we're gonna it was really a mix between like Game Pass, we love you, and then also we're gonna shove Bethesda in your face, because they should have, and they did in a good way. So I'm interested to see how they talk about those other games. I forgot about some of them, and I really liked Everwild, and I keep forgetting it exists until people are like, hey, remember Everwild? Oh, yeah. So I think that they're on the right track. They're doing what they're supposed to, and if they had given us everything to be hyped about all at once, we wouldn't be having conversations like this, because we'd be like, oh, yeah, Everwild was talked about today. Well, I want more Everwild now, and I didn't get it, so they've got me. I'm hooked.
It's like how I feel about Avowed.
Right.
Like, they said Avowed, they said the name,
today.
but I really wanted to see something.
I made a
Just
sound
give me something.
when they said Avowed. I was like, oh yeah, that one. So totally.
Well, and we'll still probably hear from Xbox in probably September, late August, September. Probably they'll do something.
Gamescom. There's Gamescom too.
Gamescom as well, but then like they've taken. They slowed last year a little bit, but they've taken in years past. They've taken up that whole, not the cadence quite that is Nintendo Directs, but they've kind of established a quarterly kind of check-in on probably what is too long of a show on those off E3 times.
Yeah.
But they find a way to give us updates on stuff, and I think we're probably still owed some kind of update on campaign for Halo a little bit, just because we haven't seen much, and what we did see was last year, and people tore it apart. So I mean, I think they not that they need to hype that up, but I think people are
I
excited.
think that's why they didn't show it this year. They were worried it would backfire on them again.
Yeah, but I think we also probably will see something that has unveiling the collectors and legendary kind of editions that they're gonna.
I thought that was gonna be a thing today, actually, Crawler. Like that was on my predictions, as them announcing some kind of collector edition Xbox, either console, controller, something to go along with.
They can't produce them. So.
I know. That's true. That's true.
We could get the Halo fridge, maybe.
Master Chief fridge, helmet.
Well, Chief is kind of inside our Series X's if we have them, right? Isn't the helmet inside the etched on the motherboard or something like that?
Yeah, he's inside.
Is it? That would be cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I had no idea that was a thing. Sweet.
So the pacing, though, like we've kind of talked about a little bit, and I feel like they've set the bar for what E3 should be. Like a lot of the stuff I was predicting was, a 20th anniversary looking back. I don't think E3 is the place for it. I think what they did at E3 was game after game, date after date. Yeah, maybe there still could have been more gameplay. Don't get me wrong, like more gameplay for things would have been better. But they still, I mean, and I saw it tossed around quite a bit on Twitter of people saying this may be the best E3 presentation ever. And
because it's what we ask for every year. We were like, just give us games, just give us
games.
a sizzle reel, like give us games, and they did that. So,
and I think it was just brought up that like they kind of do like a similar to PlayStation like state of play. I like the state of plays. I think that that's a very smart feature that PlayStation does, and all of the companies do that. But I think that those places are maybe a better place for like, hey, we're announcing our Halo version of the fridge, or whatever, insert product here at those things. Because yes, like at these conventions, at these conferences, at these, I like the word presser. I don't know. But at these pressers, I just want to see gameplay. I like some of every once in a while, I'm like, okay, this is nice. I like that the devs get credit. But we're here for gameplay. That's what this conference is about. So, the more you dance around that, the angrier your fan base and non-fans. It's easy for non-fans to be like, you wasted everybody's time. But fans, you don't want to make, us angry. Just give us what we want. It's easy.
Don't aggro the fans.
Fans.
And it really like leaves a question mark to like Sony's presence, right? Because what are they planning on doing to like appease their fans? Because the communication has not been the best this year. With just
they don't need to
messaging.
do anything. That's the problem.
Well,
people still buy their stuff.
With that messaging.
It's
they
getting
don't
close
need
that they almost need to start doing something.
Excuse me. I talked about this a little when I was on giving a live reaction, and I said, I think that there's something. And this is you guys, like as I keep saying, I'm kind of a cheese ball and really sentimental. As I mentioned, I'm a therapist, so it's like in my blood. But I think that there's something really nice about these companies stepping up and coming to this conference. In gaming, I think there's too much like continued. Are you PlayStation or are you Xbox? Are you Nintendo? Are you PC? Like, I think that there's something really nice about PlayStation. Just come to this. This is a celebration of gaming. Whether you quote think you need it or not, step up, bring your stuff to the table. Because I play games on PC. I will buy myself a PlayStation 5 for Horizon Forbidden West. I'll sell my soul. I don't have a child, but I'll sell my firstborn. I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. You know what I mean? And but by continuing to show like, no, we don't need E3. It's kind of like, well, okay, I don't need you. I do need Horizon Forbidden West, but you know, like
part of that's on the ESA though. The ESA was charging insane amount of money for a digital presence this year.
I mean,
That's fair.
They've gotten
charging,
astronomical
people for crossplay. You know, it's like they're the only like major big company that's not there. Nintendo's there, Microsoft is there, even
Nintendo shows up.
I just think that it says something about like you're just continuing to perpetuate this division, and it's gaming. You know, like we look at all I've met. Like I've known Lady without knowing I've known Lady since for years because I met her through Destiny, and I meet all these phenomenal people, and I met people who I would have never met otherwise, and you're just continuing to put a divide. I don't know. It seems like blasphemy to me, but you know. What do I know?
Adaptive triggers are the way, right, John?
Oh, jeez. Half full. Why are you showing my face?
Ready to go on blast.
I feel like I'm getting called out a lot today. But
you got to stop tweeting, man. Just stop tweeting.
I own every console. Okay, I have a PS5, I have a Switch, I have an Xbox Series X.
You just unboxed the Series X, right? You've had it since launch.
I played it like 3 times. Okay, I played Outriders for 5 minutes.
That's pretty long, considering.
Wow.
That's because Josh forced me to too. So it's not even like I was going to play it.
I deleted the letters off my hard drive today.
I just did that.
I deleted it.
I just did that.
I still have it. I have hope.
I know we're gonna do it one day. 3-bit. Don't worry, we'll play it.
The beef is on, Josh. The beef is on.
I know. John and I beef on TikTok. We mock each other back and forth with videos. It is a great time. But he always asks me, "Where did you find that picture of me?" I'm like, what did you like?
Nobody told me that
Luigi.
beard was way too long. Way too long.
That's so funny. Crawler, you were talking about the price that they're putting on these digital showcases and stuff, and that's a reason that Sony's not showing up. But I mean, I think back to before COVID, when Sony said that they weren't coming even before these digital showcases were a thing. They decided they weren't going to show up. You know, this isn't the first year they're not there. This isn't. And I mean, I feel like with Rad, like I'm like just show up. Like, I mean, and then the showcases beforehand, when everybody would say, oh, Sony won this year and Xbox won this year. Some of the showcases that Sony did were like more of an artistical outlet for them in a way. Like they got ripped apart.
3 years ago
for the
where they made the audience get up and move.
Get up and leave.
And I think
that was the most awkward show.
That almost made them be like, oh no, like they're like throwing a big like pout fest now. Like we're not coming.
Well,
it was bad. It was bad for the at-home audience. It was bad for the in-person audience. Like they had to get up.
There's like a 20-minute intermission.
Yeah,
I remember watching that.
All right, me too.
Awful.
And it was like 3. And it was 3 games. It was 3 games that we knew about.
Yep. It was, and I feel like it's been a downward spiral for Sony at E3s for like the past, few years. And I don't know if that's playing a part in it to where they're just like, oh, we don't even want to show up because, whatever, we have our state of the plays now. And it is what it is, but I'm with Rad. Like, I feel like it sets a tone for us as gamers to where, like, I want to see everything on all of the consoles. Like, me as a gamer, I'm not, like, against PlayStation. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to curse on your show, Josh? I know your other shows I'm not allowed to. I'm the one on our podcast who is constantly coming to the defend of Nintendo. Like, I mean, I love it all. So I just, I want to see it all show up because, like, I mean, this to me is like the Super Bowl of gaming. Like this weekend, I'm just like, yes, I get so excited. I want to see what PlayStation has to offer. I want to see what Xbox is. I'm kind of sad that, even, EA is kind of, the sports and stuff. Like, I don't even like to see that every year, but.
Well, and going back to that, the Super Bowl of gaming, it is. And USA Today and CNN and mainstream outlets report on E3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And with Sony and EA not really being there, that detracts from them getting that mainstream traction if they want it or not. But
Yeah.
like, there's going to be talk about Xbox Game Pass all over the place because of this showcase that Microsoft just put on, and what it is and why you should have it, and what it's doing to the video game just marketplace in general. And
Mhm.
Sony's not coming to the table to have a slice of that pie, so they're kind of just sitting out in the cold by their choice.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
like they are creating this dialogue for Xbox to just sort of take over because they're going to have most of the conversation because E3 is this big event, and Microsoft is there, and they'll have a lot of the conversation, especially because of the games they showed. And then Nintendo, I'm sure, was going to announce the Switch Pro, so they're going to have the conversation. Then people are going to be wondering what Sony is doing, and then
Yeah.
they're probably just going to have like maybe these smaller state of plays by the end of this month. But
And
we'll
we'll
see.
all
But
watch them. We're all going to
Yeah,
watch
we'll-
these state of the plays, but not, this event focuses on everybody to where the turnout for this event is bigger than just your state of the play, because you're having the casuals tune in for E3.
Correct.
It's not just the hardcore players that are like, oh, it's a state of the play today. Like, we know that, but the casual gamer doesn't know that the state of the play is today. It's
And state of plays are tucked away on like a Wednesday at 3:00.
yeah, it's super
Yeah.
random.
versus prime time. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think I'm going to catch some flack here. I'm someone who questions the relevance of E3. Like, to me, last year with COVID, it was a wild mess, and you had different outlets picking it up and trying to hodgepodge it. And I think there was a big reaction of a life raft of like, okay, we need a presence, we need to consolidate. I think that PlayStation not being here during this time frame is crazy. I can't agree more. But like, moving forward, the idea that you can own the news cycle and curate content coming out, I think that Sony has a bigger problem that has been in the works for the last 5 to 7 years, as Phil Spencer and the team have been doing these slow and methodical acquisitions to be in a position to say we're 23 to 30 studios large. And the biggest note that I got from PlayStation was actually at Jeff Keighley's Game Fest when Deviation Games was announced to be a PlayStation partnership. And it's kind of this weird area of like, I wonder if they are conscientiously trying to put distance between them and Game Pass because they don't have anything to counter it at this point. They say it's in the works, and maybe it's just not quite ready for prime time, and they can't just say, hey, we have something. It's just especially with such big games just having recently dropped, like this Friday with Ratchet and Clank, and then their big titles being moved out of this year. I think they're just in a tough spot that Microsoft seems to be taking advantage of. But I mean,
plus their hardware situation.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, overall, like PlayStation, I feel like they're just kind of maybe that's why they don't have that presence right now online. Like, we're not hearing a lot from Sony in general. We're just not. It's not there.
And it's
Yeah,
hard,
I think-
and it's hard to know what they're thinking too. Like, one of
Yeah,
the
it
first
is.
things that I thought when we see Halo now, here on the replay, but like one of the first things I thought when they said Halo's coming out in holiday 2021, I realized that could be moved. But if that's what they're aiming for,
Can't
it can't be. But I mean, it could be.
be screwed.
I realized that it can't be. I literally said out loud on the live reaction, like, Sony has got to get Horizon Forbidden West out. I mean, otherwise they're just going to keep getting buried by how well Xbox is performing. I don't know anyone's name. Man in white shirt with black hat. I like what you said about how like Xbox is just taking, I don't want to say advantage. I guess they are. They're taking advantage of like a lack of PlayStation and Sony's presence right now. On the podcast I'm on, Analog Assault, I'm often the one who brings up like, yeah, we love gaming. I love gaming. I'm very connected to gaming. Liara Tassoni's like my best friend. But like, it's still a business, like, so a lot of the practices that they're using are business oriented, and that's okay. But if Sony cannot get Horizon Forbidden West out, they're not going to go under, obviously, but it's a terrible business move for them. It's just you cannot let Microsoft, who is winning, Xbox is winning, just the progress of gaming.
Xbox has gamers.
You're gonna
Sony
fall.
has gamers.
No, yeah, you're gonna fall
Like,
so far
at the helm.
behind. That's not gonna matter how good Horizon Forbidden West is. People are just gonna keep talking Xbox.
Well, you
So
have
I think-
like Phil Spencer, who asked the community what they thought of adaptive triggers when that was the rage when PS5 launched, and Returnal brought to a forefront the importance of quick resume, and you haven't seen Sony say or do anything in regards to we're looking into an OS kind of optimization to look into. They're built on same architecture. The technology, if it's there, they can probably do it. It's going to be an OS update, but the head of Sony hasn't come out and asked what people think or they want. The goal, the only thing that came out with Returnal is like, make sure you turn off auto updates.
Right.
That's what it was.
I think people are real. Well, the only reason why Game Pass can work as like the Netflix of games is to have content, right? And Microsoft just pretty much has a bunch of studios, and I think Phil said today or something, or a couple days ago, that they're planning on releasing a game every month.
Yeah.
Every month to
A
every
big,
3
a
months.
headlining game every month.
Every
And
month.
they showed it.
Headlining every month.
I like how Halo just
Um,
said holiday. Big letters.
That's
above
kinda
it,
like Horizon.
holiday.
That's so
Horizon Forbidden West
strategic.
is just like sometime this year, maybe.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to release a
2021.
date. I would not want to
I'm-
release a date knowing Horizon is out there. I would be very strategic about
Oh,
when
for
to
sure.
I
release
think
Halo.
that's where I'm. I think Halo,
Of
or
course.
like 343 is just like kind of like filling the waters. Like, what's all going to come out? What do we got? Coming out from the other. And not only that, like, I mean, we know that they're still working on the game. Don't give me a set date and then push it back a week. Like, no, in your heart of hearts, that it's coming out on this day. This is what we're doing. So everybody's out there freaking out. They didn't give us a thing. It's going to be delayed. I'm like, I don't feel like
No, it's not going to be delayed.
there's I don't think that 343 is going to like take a delay at this point. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, they will crunch, and like I know crunch is like a big topic right now, but I don't think that they can afford to delay at this point. Like, I just don't see it happening. Like, they will push for holiday, and it might be Valentine's Day.
Let's say
Still a holiday.
Does Battlefield have a date?
Yeah, October 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And is Call of Duty doing anything this year?
They have the
Yeah.
World War II, the Valor one or whatever. They haven't announced it officially, but
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
is-
say there. So
We
like
didn't see that.
holiday
Wow.
still like we don't know what holiday looks like.
Mhm.
Microsoft can dictate that a little bit if they wanted to, but they also want to make sure that their game is the best that it can be. I remember back to Halo 4. I think it was Call of Duty, and then a week later it was like Halo 4, and then a week after that was Battlefield. It was like that November was just jam packed, and
Mhm.
you don't want to have that just
Game
cramped.
Pass is the difference, though.
Game Pass is the
Because
difference.
You
And-
don't have to pay $70 for Halo if you have
and
Game
Josh,
Pass.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier. Like, how many people are excited to buy Battlefield for $70? Like, it's a multiplayer only thing that doesn't have a campaign. That
It looks
I don't know
amazing,
if-
and I'm gonna buy it. But I
looks
don't.
I'm
amazing.
in, but
I don't know if I have the time commitment for a 128 person game. Like,
and Halo
Multiplayer.
Infinite's multiplaire is free.
It's free.
Yeah.
You don't even
free.
need
Right.
Game Pass.
not
You
Game
don't even
Pass.
need it.
And they could also stagger the releases. Halo's multiplayer could come out before the campaign if it needs
It
more
could.
time.
It said
Yeah.
today that they were going to come out at the same time.
It
though.
did say
Yeah,
that.
because
That
that was
was- That was
Yeah,
a
they
thing
wanna
that they
issue
announced,
last
and
year.
it's been like a rumor. Everybody's been talking about, oh, the campaign's going to come out first, whatever is going to come out first, and it's going to be staggered. And it's been something people have been talking about, and they confirmed today that that's not the case. And I think that's another reason they're not giving us a date, because they need to make sure both of them
All ready to
well,
go.
I was
Are
say
on
what we
par.
saw today. It makes me feel like multiplayer is further along than campaign. But
I mean,
I wouldn't
thing-
doubt it, especially
they're
with the
both-
multiplayer deep dive
the
tomorrow.
game is finished. Like
yeah,
from months ago, he said he played the game like 3 times, like through the campaign 3 times. Right now, they're in the polishing phase. of just
I
making
think-
sure this game works when it comes out.
Yeah, I just don't think that they're looking to invite comparisons, right? That was just it took up so many cycles of like
We didn't want to meet Craig's brother.
PR. Yeah. I mean, why give something to an active audience to do a side-by-side comparison? It just seems kind of foolish, right? Give the tone piece, which we haven't talked about at all, but the campaign teaser flick gave me the vibes. Like, it put me back in the college dorms, Halo 2 to Halo 3 campaign, the whole kind of drifting through space. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Like, it got me hyped, and I think that we'll get those deep dives. I'm glad that they didn't go, look, because then all people would have been talking about was zoomed in fuzzy screenshots and being like, look, they delayed a year and it's not that good. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And it's not even the right platform for that. It's E3. Like, I don't want to
I
spend 20
fully
minutes
agree.
on one game. Like, not everybody likes Halo. Not everybody
Right.
likes
Yeah.
Halo. And those are the people who,
Exactly.
like, it was me when Forza came on. I'm like, oh, so this is the game we're going to talk about. We're doing so well, but now we're going to stop and have narrative about Forza, because how can we get through a Forza presentation without somebody talking about how amazing it looks? It's like that every year.
Well,
But
yeah.
I just don't think that that's the place for it. And I think we will get those deep dives for that reason, but don't give me 20 minutes of Halo at E3.
Yeah.
Yeah, look what Square did
like,
with the Guardians of the
Square
Galaxy
Enix,
thing.
I was gonna say, I was about to say that.
Exactly.
Square Enix literally took 20 minutes of gameplay, and I'm just like, I just wanted to see maybe 2-3 minutes, like, okay, cool. And then you could say in the trailer for the deep dive, stay tuned after the show, or look at this video after the show. So that way it keeps flowing and we could see the content that is within your company, right?
I just think that, oh man, to me, it just reinforces the fact that Microsoft, compared to everyone else, is in a unique position because of all the acquisition and strategy around getting new IP. Because the same thing happened with Gearbox. Talk about like how people are filling airtime. I think with COVID and crunch and like the limited resources and working from home, I think that it's showing through with what people have to focus on. And so the comparison this year is going to be drastic. I'm excited to see what happens with Nintendo, because they have a lot of hype around them, and it's curious to see, you know, given all the IP and a new console potentially on the horizon, they're the only people that come to mind that seem like might have weathered the storm a little bit better than everyone else.
Yes, and in 2022 and 2023, Microsoft is going to be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Like in terms
for
of the
sure.
technology and the games coming, Fable and all these
Perfect
games are
Dark.
just going to start. Perfect Dark, Avowed. It's just going to be a ripple effect of just game after game after game, and that's when Sony like should be really scared around that time. 2022, 2023, and the technology with like the RDNA 2, and them figuring out Fidelity FX and all these different developers like the Coalition, who are the masters in the Unreal Engine. It's going to be insane in a couple of years. 2022, 2023.
Yep.
People should definitely look out.
And Xbox is picking up slack from this last generation. Like, I mean, we're all adults. We all know that PlayStation 1, this last generation, they
dominated.
Yeah, and now Xbox saw that happen, and they're trying to catch up, and like they did it right. They kind of sat back and did all this behind the scenes like kind of shit, and then now they're coming back to the forefront. So I don't know. I just feel like
Phil Spencer must be a really good chess player. He's thinking way far.
4 dimensions, baby.
There's a saying that you hear like Gary Vee say all the time. He's like a marketer, but you got to eat the shit before you eat the caviar, right? And like that, PlayStation showed Xbox how to fight out of the losing corner.
Yep.
The PlayStation 3, when they announced it and they were like, oh, just get another job. And their fan base went, okay, here's my middle finger. Right. And then they had to fight their way back. And then, Xbox comes out and they're like, entertainment, TV, connect. And they're like, gamers are like, you don't you don't get us. And then PlayStation's like $4.99. They played their game. They won. It's an awesome thing. PlayStation is thriving because of their brand. Nintendo with the Switch came out and said, okay, we probably aren't going to have third-party support thanks to the Wii U. So we're going to launch all of these first-party titles one a month. And then Xbox took notes, right?
Yep.
And they're like, okay, now, like, look at what Nintendo did. Look at what PlayStation did. It's our turn. And in turn, PlayStation is going to have to answer back in the very near future. And guess who wins? We all do, right? As these companies duke it out, and Xbox is changing the face, because everywhere I turn, I hear somebody saying, I don't know if I want to spend $70 on this. I don't know if I want to spend because of Game Pass. And it's so interesting as the industry up the prices of games. Xbox is like, have games for a fee. You know what I mean? And it's a really fun time to be able to experience it and see how are the cards going to play out over the next 5 years. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I think going back to like what I said about, you know, being a softie and wanting to see PlayStation at these events, I think that feeds into it a little. I don't have a problem with the competitiveness between PlayStation and Xbox. Ooh, that was tough. I did a 13-hour stream yesterday for charity. I'm exhausted. So
8-hour stream.
Yeah. So I don't like when you feel like PlayStation not being there is adding divisiveness. I don't mind competitiveness, because as we know, that's what drives business. That's what drives innovative thinking and ingenuity. It's just kind of to, you know, back up what you said, Josh. But I do think that I do like seeing the back and forth. It's a great tennis match. And I would love to see PlayStation grow from this and, you know, give us PlayStation Game Pass or whatever they want to call it. I'm sure Game Pass is copyrighted and they can't use that. But, you know, just, you know, that's what makes gaming beautiful is, yeah, learn from this. And just like you said, make it better for all of us. But this, like, not attending, you know, not bringing us together is that's gonna not bode well for anybody, and they can't afford that right now. So
yeah, and I think like them not being there, like it's such a weird thing, because I want them to compete against each other. So I think them being at E3, it causes, you know, each company to sort of battle each other and whatnot. And I think Sony did sort of make a mistake of trying to go against a $1 trillion company, and now it is backed by Satya. Right? The Satya is fully supporting Phil, and that's a scary thought, considering they're a $1 trillion company with like almost unlimited funds, it feels like. And Sony is not quite there financially, and they are the top right now in terms of the branding of support. Like Sony is at the top of the game right now, and they've delivered amazing exclusives for this past generation. But I don't think I still think they should have the mentality of wanting to compete, because it happens every few generations. Like PS3, they mess up, then 360 killed it, PS4, Xbox One messed up, and now it just feels like that's happening again with this generation of just like these companies going back and forth.
History seems to repeat itself in the gaming space.
Yep.
It's like, as we get older, we kind of are seeing it. We're seeing it happen, you know. And it's, I mean, Nintendo's been up and down, right? The NES was so successful. It's the reason we probably have games today because of what it
brought games back.
Yeah, and then Sega was like, we want 50% of the market share, and then, you know, and then Nintendo screwed over Sony, and they were like, oh no, like, you're gonna pay for this. And it's just awesome watching the history unfold. And now we're getting to see it's just, it's over, and it's just over and over again. And now the you know, the trifecta of of Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox is just it's great to see. Xbox did not stand a chance. They stopped saying how many consoles they sold. Like it was like, wow, did they just wave the white flag or what? And then Phil stepped in and he's like, I'm turning the ship around. And now it's turned around and now they're sailing forward and you know, they got Sony in their sights, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I think Phil is just such a gamer at heart that it took somebody like that with that mindset that could turn it around. So I feel that.
I'm just
look at Nintendo with Iwata having a gamer and a programmer run Nintendo, like how Nintendo got turned around a little bit there, and just the positivity that comes from having one of us running that company is a great thing. You want that passion there in the boardroom.
You are absolutely correct. And these guys are in the trenches, right? I jump into a Clubhouse chat every Tuesday with Aaron Greenberg. Stein is in there. There's some other Xbox employees. Jeff Keighley's in there. And there's one guy from Sony that comes in and hangs out in this thing and chats. And I don't know if there's anybody from Nintendo at all. But they
don't even know what that is. They don't know what Clubhouse is. What are you talking about? They don't even know what the internet is.
Right, exactly. But they are just in the trenches. Xbox leaks something, and they're making, if something gets leaked, they're making memes. I tweet at Xbox, and the majority of you probably have, and then they reply. Nintendo's never replied to me. Sony's never going to reply, but Xbox is like, yo, they had to play the long game, building community and showing that they're just gamers right here with us. And that's what it feels like. And it's kind of crazy to say that, like, I know they're a corporation. I know they're a business. I know they're in it for the money, but the people that are running it, the leadership allows people to do their jobs. And because of that, they're succeeding so well. And it feels like Cloud and chat saying Xbox is always so transparent with their fans, and it's great. And that's a huge key to their success, I believe.
It's like when they messed up with the price of live earlier. Was it this year?
They quickly backed that up.
It was 6 hours.
And that was on a Friday.
They flipped the script on that so fast because they saw
the same
it.
day they changed.
That was a Friday too. Somebody was getting ready to go home for the weekend, and they were like, "Oh shit,
God.
we gotta."
No, they were like, "Everybody is pissed off. We are not
you guys
doing
remember people coming out and being like, this was a conspiracy. It was done on purpose to steal media cycle. It's like, yes, they came out and did something dumb,
catastrophic,
and then worked over the weekend. That was their master plan. Like, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm excited, and I know we've taken this topic rather long. I just think that Radical. Me, I'm Andy, aka White Shirt Black Hat.
He's amazing too.
I'm thrilled when you said that, the divisiveness isn't what we're interested in, but the competitive aspects of these companies. And I love Sony's IPs. I'm excited for God of War, Horizon. I start to get a little bit worried in this kind of tug of war. History seems to repeat itself because cloud gaming is the future. xCloud is being pushed. Most of these titles are coming, if not day and date, in the future to cloud. And Microsoft has a partnership to help support Sony to begin with when it comes to servers and support that way. And so I'm not sure what they're going to do to compete. And that just leads me to believe, again, that they just don't have anything to say, and they think it'd be worse to say something inferior or anything at all. And so I hope for the sake of the industry, but it gets me a little worried because the AAA games that they put out, the 9s out of 10s and the 10s out of 10s regularly, I want them to persist in that ecosystem. But where do they go if not to the cloud and a similar service? But do they have the infrastructure that a company that's worth $1 trillion with Azure and Microsoft has? And then seeing Satya at 3-Bit talking about him fully supporting it and talking about the future of working on new hardware to put it on smart TVs and the Fire Stick application to kind of spread the availability of getting into the ecosystem. It's just hard to imagine how Sony's catching up, and I'm looking forward to it. They can't have no plan, but it's like, what are you gonna do?
That's such a great
What's
point.
going to happen?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And
what's
I
the
think,
likelihood? What's the likelihood of a Xbox cloud gaming app on a Sony smart TV?
I mean, the thing is, it's not. Believe it or not, it's not super far fetched because Microsoft did make a deal with Sony so they can use their Azure servers. But the problem is, Microsoft has this crazy technology. Like they bought Bethesda, right? They bought ZeniMax. And within ZeniMax was the Orion Cloud technology. And if people don't know what that is, that's Bethesda's version of the cloud to pretty much make it so you have no latency for cloud games. And it was pretty much coming and coincide with the ID Tech engine. So not only do they have Azure that they're constantly just improving on and testing, they have Orion pretty much paired with the xCloud, and so the technology that they are investing in, not to mention their really close partnership with AMD, more so than Sony, it's just, in terms of tech, Sony needs to start doing some things with PlayStation Plus and making it so it's comparable to a Game Pass. Start putting games in day one, which they are starting. They have signs of them competing, right? They've put their entire PlayStation collection, I believe, on the PS Plus, and they're competing where they can against $1 trillion company. Is how I like to look at it. Like they are not $1 trillion company. They have a different mindset than Xbox in a lot of different ways, but we'll see. I think once they see how successful Game Pass is, they'll need to compete even more. But they have Azure servers. That's why it's so confusing to me. They don't use them. It's really, really odd.
Yeah.
John, we haven't heard enough from you.
Oh, gee. I will play devil's advocate on here. I will. Because I think Sony is doing a great job. Like, they are getting people to buy their stuff without having to compete with Xbox. Like Ratchet and Clank just came out, fantastic game. I think it's worth $70. Returnal, I thought was worth $70. Like, people are still going to buy those games, especially when God of War starts coming out, Horizon Forbidden West.
Definitely.
Like, all of their IPs, they sell the consoles.
That's like I was saying. They built their brand to get to that point, right? Like and good on them. I'm glad they're at that place. I'm glad they're healthy. I just wonder what it's looking like as Xbox chips away at the foundation of their original plan, and they're gonna have to shift, But continue, John, because I cut you off. I didn't mean to.
But so once Xbox starts putting games on there, once they get these big IPs onto Game Pass, then Sony's going to have to shift a little bit. But right now, Xbox Series X and the PS5 have been out for 8-9 months. I can't tell you a big IP that Xbox released in the 9 months. Maybe Medium, but that's not even that big of an IP, and that's coming to PlayStation anyway. So Sony doesn't have to do anything right now. They will release their games, people will buy them, PS5s will still be sold out.
Yeah. I want to sort of counter that because
please do.
Game Pass is getting how many subscribers just without a major IP? Like, was it 28 million and growing without a major IP? So when they do have major IPs, I get what you're saying though. Not
only that 3-bit, but when they come out with the stick and the app, that's when I'm like, I'm buying this for my folks. You know what I mean? They can take it with them wherever they travel. That's going to be a whole new game changer that Sony's going to be like, how do we deal with this one?
Well, Nintendo has to worry about the stick too, because that's what I would take with me when I travel versus my Switch.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's
Sony's at the top. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, and that's, congratulations, Sony. You're selling to people who want your stuff. What are you doing for people who don't? What are you doing to get new people to buy your stuff? nothing. I mean, like if I'm a casual gamer, I'm not. But if I'm a casual gamer and I'm seeing all of this, I'm going to say I want Xbox. It's so much more accessible. There's a million games that I can play. There's games of every genre, and PlayStation's like, yeah, we have a really some like nice IP, very good, very, very good. Like Andy was saying, I remembered your name. Very phenomenal. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn is in my top. It's my number 2 game like ever. Fine, but like they're not doing anything, in my opinion, not intuitive, but like oh no, what's the other I word? I said it before. Oh, there's no ingenuity to what they're doing yet. Someone else had said, who knows what they're doing sort of like behind the scenes. I don't know. Maybe they're planning something, to get that. I liked the, wind in their sails example I think Josh gave. Like, maybe they're getting their gust, in the wind, in their sails. And I don't know. But it just doesn't feel like they're doing anything to get people who don't already buy into PlayStation to buy into PlayStation. And that is the problem. That's going to, as I said before, it's going to wreck how the competitiveness of business works for gaming. And there's any business without competitiveness. It's just going to be what the Xbox show, where no one's going to want that. No one wants just the Xbox show.
Mm-hmm.
So, except
Well, yeah,
for today was very good.
And when
Go for it.
Go ahead. When the IPs do come in, $300 and $15 a month gets you access to all that. And if the stick comes quicker than that, then what, $60-$80 for the stick and a controller, and you're set. I mean, it's just, it goes against that whole argument of, is this game worth $70? Because Xbox has just taken that question out of the equation.
Yeah.
Well, and another factor is going to be when, we were talking about storage, but when the majority of these games are accessible through the cloud, even on our console, and we don't have to download them and take up more space, that's another convenience that, like, I'm all about. And then my other question with that, if cloud gaming becomes something that like really ends up working out for them, how many regular Xbox Ones are all of a sudden going to be a little more like useful? If we're talking about playing these games on an app, then it's kind of crazy that like it's Sony's gonna have to answer. And I hope in Radical, you got me thinking, like, I hope when they answer, and Brap in chat as well, like Sony's they're gonna follow, they're gonna show up, but it's not gonna follow I hope they do something that people are like, yo, we take notice, and then Xbox has to.
I fully agree.
Has to counter again.
I agree.
Like,
I don't need them to. I said it before, like, oh, maybe they'll do a Sony's version of Game Pass. I don't care if they don't do Game Pass, whatever. But do something that's going to make people say,
Xbox is doing Game Pass. Like, I don't even need it from Sony to be.
Do something that's going to make people say, oh my gosh, that blows my mind. They're the first person to do that.
But I feel like Sony's been doing that kind of on its own the past, few years. I mean, they have these IPs that have all of us going like, oh my God, I need a fucking PlayStation, because, PlayStation has these amazing story-driven IPs. And I feel like Brap said in chat, like they're just going a different direction. And I played this, this card a lot with Nintendo. Like Nintendo, people like try to compare Nintendo and Xbox and PlayStation. I'm like, no, Nintendo has been on their own road for so long that I don't even put them up against each other. And I feel like now where we're at in the industry, in the community, is that Xbox and PlayStation are now at their own fork in the road. And Xbox is going one way, PlayStation is going another way. PlayStation has always focused on these amazing IPs, that you can only get on PlayStation, like Nintendo has. I can't play fucking Mario anywhere. Like, it's just not something I can do. And I think if PlayStation continues down that road with what they're doing, and then Xbox is taking this road, then soon, like, the war that we all talk about, this console war, is going to be obsolete, because everybody's in their own game at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I think one of the things that's interesting, though, is through all these acquisitions, we have a lot that remains to be seen on Microsoft's side, but like acquiring Bethesda and they're a known quantity, all of a sudden must-have IP is becoming less and less of a competitive edge for Sony. And so that branching path, considering that Google and Amazon and Xbox, these big cloud-based players, the prevalence of 5G, Starlink, like the idea of these big concepts, Sony can't ignore that. And I think what makes, I said earlier that I was worried. You look at the PlayStation 2 is still the best-selling console of all time at 155 million units. And then you look at right now, like PlayStation is doing really well. They're selling out because if you jump to the PS4, it was like 140 million and Xbox One was sitting at 50 million. And so they're definitely winning. They've put out a great device, very powerful and competitive. But if you're looking at it from a perspective of IP versus IP, we're now starting to get into a position with leadership at Xbox saying, hey, this is something important and we're going to have exclusives.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay.
Oh yeah,
then
2
is
years,
that
a
allowed
year.
at all? you
Yeah.
know, like, is that a different path or is that obsolescence and they'll be forced to
All right,
partner?
I will take that. You
or-
are correct. Xbox is coming at them in the new IP, and like I mean, it might not be something that we're seeing right now on the table, but it's going to be something in the
Yeah.
future, definitely. And you're right. Like but I guess they're playing Sony's own game in that thing, and all right. You know what?
But they're also
have to do that
attacking
and
like
see.
the casual audience with Game Pass
Mhm.
because when you look at which games people are playing the most, it's not your Horizon. It is not Last of Us 2. It is actually like a Madden. It's a Madden. It's
Yeah.
a
Call of
FIFA,
Duty.
and guess what? They have a deal with EA, right? With Game Pass, where those games are either cheaper or just free.
If you're patient, if you're patient, they'll
If you're
be there
patient.
eventually.
Yeah. So that's where Game Pass and what we're talking about with Xbox being very competitive in that area. Not only are they starting to delete that conversation of Xbox has no games with the IP, but they're also taking out the conversation where like you can have these games way cheaper on Game Pass and for the casual gamers who likes playing a Madden or a FIFA, that's where Game Pass is really successful and appeasing to people like that. But on top of all that, you have the ecosystem where you don't need a Series X to play those games. You also have the Series S or your PC or your phone. So it's just like on top of all that, it's becoming such a conversation where Microsoft is doing great. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
So we're at an hour 20 minutes. The showcase is about to wrap up. This has been awesome, you guys. Seriously, I cannot thank all of you
Our
enough
E3 talk
for
turned into console.
yeah, but it's still I mean, but it's so relevant
It's
with what we
relevant.
saw
Yeah.
today. Like it's great conversation, and it's also I don't feel like it's from a place of like, F the Sony fans and F like no,
Oh, yeah, no.
we're fans
No
of
way.
games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we get to sit back and just watch these three like in a cage match, and it's like who's gonna come out on top? And
They're all
I
playing
love
Fusion Frenzy. Fuck.
Well, and our conversation turned to something that I think Xbox wanted. I said this with you, Josh, on Live React right after the showcase. This was a selling pitch for Game Pass, and that's what this was. 27 out of 30. We already talked about that. That's what drove our majority of our conversation here in the last half. So it's what they wanted. They want that to be the forefront. Game Pass is what they're selling. They don't make money on consoles. They've expressed that under oath in court. So they don't care. They don't care if you're buying a console, and if they can get it on an app or a Amazon Fire Stick or whatever kind of thing they're going to come out with, that they're happy just to get your $15 a month. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree 100%. So
I'm curious on like what you guys' overall rating of the show is, because I know we dived into a lot of different topics of what Xbox is doing, how that affects Sony and Nintendo. But what do you guys think about the show?
So I tell you what, let's do this as we close out. So give your score, where people can find you, and then we'll move on. And John, I'm putting you on the spot. Here you go.
Jeez.
Oh
what
no!
Yeah, John.
I thought it was gonna be
Get 'em.
last because I was gonna be like
This
probably the most.
guy.
I'm just gonna buy some time because everybody wants to see my face. So, well, for those who don't know me, I'm super famous on TikTok, John Ebo everywhere, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, and I give the show 7 out of 10. I want closer dates.
All right.
You want games now?
I'll take it.
I want games now. Yeah, I don't want to wait 3 years.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Make sure to follow Johnny Bo, especially on TikTok. He's killing it over there. All right, Radical, you
Hey.
are up.
Hey,
Score
it's me.
And where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'll give it like an 8.5. I was not. I don't know if people were expecting. Like I said earlier, I loved that Plague Tale showed up. I was not expecting it. Maybe I'm not looking at the right outlets or whatever, but I was really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. So I give it an 8.5. I thought it was fine. There was a lot of stuff that I wasn't personally interested in, but it was still a good show at the pace and everything. So that's why I give it that. You can find me on twitch.tv/radical618. I'm on Twitter, Radical618. I'm on the Mulehorn Gaming Analog Assault podcast Thursday nights at 8:30 Central on YouTube. And I write articles, and I'm an editor for them. And I do game reviews. I did Cyberpunk. What a doozy. And that's where you can find me. I love
Awesome.
Cyberpunk, but it was a doozy of a review.
I bet. All right, Crawler, where can we find you, and how do you rate the show?
You guys can find me. I'm a co-host on the Press Pause podcast, which is on pause right now. It will be coming back here in July. Also hanging out occasionally on the Nintendo Powercast. You can catch me on Tuesday when we're doing a live react after the Nintendo Direct. But then also on Twitch and Twitter, Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawlers without the E. And I think my score is, I'm thinking like an 8 out of 10. I like that, even though a lot of some of the stuff was for me, some of it wasn't. I like that it's there, and I have a console and I can download it and play it if I want to. They really sold me on. It's just a smorgasbord of stuff that you can take when you want it and eat it as it comes out. It's kind of what it is.
The buffet got better.
Yep.
Andy, give us your score and tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, you know what, Buck, the traditional, I'll give it an A-, thinking about going to school. Yeah, I feel like they had a ton of different things, loose ends to tie up. What is exclusivity with Bethesda? How do you integrate them? What is the value of Game Pass? Let's get enough genres in, and let's keep it interesting for the full 90 minutes. And I think they did a great job. You can find me on Twitter, and I co-host with Josh on Wednesday mornings for kind of the Xbox news update. So catch us there. And happy Pride Month, near and dear to my heart. And so if you're interested in more than thoughts and prayers, head over to the trevorproject.org and give some of your time or money. But A- for me.
All right,
Well
lady.
said. Well said.
How about you?
I am giving the show a solid 9 out of 10. I felt like it was one of the best Xbox presentations we've seen to date. They kept it coming. They did, just game after game, something for everybody. I was blown away by some of those trailers. It shocked me at certain times. So I have to give it that score. I mean, it was probably one of my favorite E3 moments of my life. I know that's saying a lot. Maybe I'm just like, a little
E3 high.
I thought I was
E3
cheesy.
high, or maybe last year just left me cringing for anything, just grasping
fair.
at straws. But no, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And then you can find me on Twitter at lady_AF. That's LAIDY_AF. You can find me on Wednesday nights at Game and Beyond the Box. And then Fridays on the Xbox Ultimate podcast with the Magnificent Seven, and then occasionally on Tuesdays with the Players of Everything and Masters of None show with Noobs and Pros.
Awesome. Very cool. 3-bit.
You guys can find me on Twitter. It's the VGHD. I give the show a 10 out of 10. It just did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. It just did everything for me personally that I wanted. I wanted to see Halo Infinite, and I said if they showed Halo Infinite multiplayer, which I already knew they were going to show, some little tease of Outer World and then some games sprinkled in there, that's all I really wanted. So for me, it was like a solid 10 out of 10. Shout out to Kara and the team at Ubisoft. We worked on some of the ending titles for that Ubisoft show, and it was
Nice.
like a blast. And I had such a fun time working on that, and we worked really hard on it. So shout out to that team. But you guys can find me podcasting with Lady and the Magnificent Seven every Friday at 9:00 p.m. And I'm on some other shows like Xbox Factor with Mr. Boomstick. Josh is in my new position, so he's on the Thursday shows, but now I'm on the Tuesday shows. You guys can find me on there. It's been a pleasure being with all of you guys, and I'll catch you all later.
All right, guys. I'm like 3-bit. It was a 10 out of 10 for me. All I needed was Halo. If it had
Yes.
been 90 minutes of Halo, I was good. You know what I mean? So
Just sad I didn't get Avowed and Fable. Those are
And
the
three-
only reasons it's
and-
getting a 9.
3-bit mentioned it. We didn't talk about it, but the best trailer of them all was Outer Worlds 2.
Oh yes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was great. Yeah.
Breach.
It was
It
very
was
good.
so good. So good. So guys, you can find me everywhere at N64Josh. We got XboxNow.tv. If you want to check out some articles, we're slowly working on that. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. To all the panel, thank you guys. And we'll see you in the next one.